has been proudly serving East Tennessee for over 60 years. We use only the best equipment like American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. City Heat and Air.
Air to bear.
All right, good morning, 6:01 here this morning, getting us started on a good old Wednesday hump day. Didn't want to forget about the camel, so there we go. Ed, the camel is back up and ready for action on this Wednesday, halfway through the work week. Good morning, Kimberly. How are you doing, my friend? Haven't seen you on here for a while. And we got Katrina, as well as Julie, joining us to the chat here this morning. So ladies and any gentlemen on the show here this morning, good morning. Welcome to the show. Of course, we do have more with Ed Rupp coming up here in just a few minutes. You probably saw it at the very beginning if you saw the countdown, but a beautiful sunrise taking shape right now in downtown Clinton this morning. Oh, look at that. Little haze out there. We've had the glow of the smoke giving us some nice sunrises and sunsets around East Tennessee, and I think that's going to be the story here for the next couple of days, and then this smoke is starting to move its way on out as we start to see a little bit of a pattern change, which, of course, we'll highlight here in your full forecast coming up here in just a minute as well. All right, temperature-wise, yesterday, I'd like to keep you in check. Yesterday, I was forecasting 86. We made it to 87. The record was 96 back in 1895 in Knoxville, so some old-time records there. That was the oldest record when you look at all the records yesterday across all of the reporting stations. In 1951 for Tri-Cities, 1998 for Chattanooga. All right, so here's the story for the next several days. Warm and muggy weather continues. I'm going to be tracking several waves and a Gulf low that the National Hurricane Center is tracking as well. So expect increasing rain and the possibility of severe weather chances as we wrap up the week and start the weekend. Yes, the severe weather kind of ramps its way back up. So let me show you what I'm talking about, okay? This is mid-level energy and spin, also known as vorticity, 500 millibar vorticity. So this is about 15 to 18,000 feet up in the atmosphere. But this shows us disturbances or storms, if you will, in the atmosphere. And so notice down by the Gulf of Mexico, we do have that little circular area with some yellows and reds and oranges. That's one disturbance. That's that Gulf low that the National Hurricane Center is talking about. And then back to our west from Chicago all the way down to Dallas, Texas, notice some reds and yellows. That's a cold front. So when you switch over to the frontal to the surface map and also the radar, you can see how these disturbances are creating clouds, showers, thunderstorms. And so those are all going to kind of merge into the southeastern U.S. and produce some decent amount of rain. Out there this morning, if you have travel plans across the state, we are doing just fine. And believe it or not, temperatures are running much warmer this morning than yesterday. We're currently in the 60s with even, look at Chattanooga at 70 degrees, while Tri-Cities, Rogersville still hanging on to the mid to upper 50s. But either way you slice it and dice it, we're still talking warmer weather here this morning than what we were yesterday. Anywhere from about, say, 2 to upwards of 10 degrees warmer. So that should feel a little bit better for Rogersville, Greenville, Tri-Cities than yesterday. By the way, you got to see my mug here in just a second. It's a cool mug if you like Dolly Parton. All right, here we go. So Futurecast, we'll pick up our timeline. So if you were with me yesterday morning, I hinted at this yesterday afternoon and yesterday evening's forecast updates. I kind of hit it a little bit more. So looking at some of the latest model guidance this morning, while we do have moisture moving in from the southeast, because remember, we've got our ridge of high pressure at the surface across hanging on to the southeastern coastline. So that brings us a southeasterly flow. Let me show you what I'm talking about, our Futurecast. So when you get a southeasterly flow and you have a Gulf low, that's going to start to pump in a little bit more moisture and start to work it our direction. So as you start to heat up the atmosphere, feed more moisture into the air, guess what? We'll start to see some fair weather cumulus clouds developing during the afternoon. They'll be drifting in from the southeast. And as we progress through the peak heating of the day, maybe a chance for a couple of isolated afternoon showers or evening thunderstorms. That would put down locally heavy rainfall if we saw these develop at all. Most models indicating maybe 1 or 2 storms. This is my in-house model. I think it looks like it's overdoing it a little bit. But I want you to have the idea and the information in the back of your head throughout the day that, okay, if it doesn't happen, that's great. But there is a chance for an isolated afternoon thunderstorm to roll off the mountains from the southeast, working its way to the northwest. As we get well past sundown, that would kind of fade away and die down. So that's the potential for the day today, but not necessarily a guarantee through the day. All right, temperature-wise, we're going to top out in the mid to upper 80s. Again, average high is 83, so we're trending about 5 degrees above average for this time of the year. A nice little warm, toasty June feeling. Now, tomorrow maybe about a 20% chance, much more of the same, a little bit of piece of energy, a little bit more moisture. May spark off some afternoon showers and thunderstorms on Thursday, but few and far between. Then we'll become a little bit more scattered in nature as we get into our Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And again, Friday, Saturday timeframe, we have that risk for severe storms. The risk stays far to our left. Well, that's also left too. To the west today, stays to the west tomorrow. But then you look at Friday, Saturday, the Storm Prediction Center has already issued a level 1 and a level 2 risk for severe storms. That would be damaging wind being the main threat out of that. And then as we go to day number 4, which of course they don't have in categories as i.e. Level 1 through 5, they've got a level 1 and a level 2 risk, which would be 15 or 30% probabilities or greater. Right now they're hanging on to about a 15%. So this will likely be a level 1 risk Saturday into Sunday as all this energy heads our way. So let's talk about it because it is June 4th, which is crazy. But we have that area of low pressure that the National Hurricane Center is talking about. We have scattered showers and thunderstorms, a cluster of thunderstorms down into Florida. As we progress through the next 2 to 7 days, the National Hurricane Center has about a 10% probability. So likely not to become our next named storm, but likely to produce, or our first storm of the season, I should say, but likely to produce some heavy rainfall along the southeastern coastline. So not a lot of activity throughout the day today across the state, or that's all the way through Friday. But notice the rain in the southeast from Myrtle Beach to Charleston, and then the rain associated with that frontal boundary to our west, that all finally takes shape as we get into our Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. And so when you look at a week's worth of rainfall, we're talking about inch to 2 inches of rainfall here around East Tennessee, with 3 to 4 possible across the southeastern coastline. So if anybody has any travel plans for a vacation, Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Savannah, Georgia, Florida, you're going to be running into some potential tropical system, but likely not, just potentially some locally heavy rainfall. Some decent rain around the entire region. If you look at the entire country, notice the rain is hanging on across parts of, say, Texas, Oklahoma, and the eastern seaboard. Across the West Coast, they can't seem to get much in the way of rainfall at this point of the game. All right. Here's your 7-day forecast. So isolated storms today and tomorrow. Severe storms possible Friday and Saturday. And then scattered showers, numerous rain, heavy rain at that. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, with isolated storms returning as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, that would be. Because, of course, today is Wednesday. Oh, my goodness gracious. Hey, by the way, it is Wednesday. It is hump day. Miranda says, happy hump day. So I say, let's say good morning to Ed Rupp, shall we? Good morning, Ed.
Wait for him. Wait for him. Bam! Now we slide all the way downhill to the weekend. The kids can get ready for school, and Debbie can take her shower.
Woo! Thank goodness Debbie's allowed to take her shower now. Her once weekly shower is available. The things that Ed Rupp has been doing for years and years and years, and I love that he's part of the program. So big shout out to Ed Rupp this morning. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Love that we've made Camel as the part of East Tennessee weather's daily, or I should say at least weekly, routine. All right, we've got some beautiful weather outside. I do want to, let's kick off some of these national holidays. I have not looked at them yet, by the way. But we'll show you a nice little view from, let's take you down to KMNV Monroe County Airport here. Show you the different views of East Tennessee from the East Tennessee weather cameras. You can check out time lapses online at easttnweather.com. I do have some live weather cameras. They dump out every once in a while, so bear with me. We try to launch them daily, but sometimes they dump out daily as well. All right, here are your national weather headlines. We love you, Ed Rupp. Don't we just love Ed Rupp? And Kimberly's ready to dance. All right, so today's June 4th. Of course, we're celebrating birthdays and events. Happy birthday to anybody celebrating a birthday today. Make it a great day. Should be a fantastic day, by the way. National Hug Your Cat Day. If you have a cat, today's a good day to hug your cat. If you have a nice cat, it's a better day to hug your cat. But if you have a cat that can claw you, maybe just leave the cat over there. I'm not a fan. I'm not a cat person myself. I had one back in college and couldn't do cats. Decided I didn't like cats whatsoever. But cats are great for some people. All right. Anyways, if you have a cat, hug it today. National Clean Beauty Day. All right. I think that's kind of goes without saying, but do you use products with clean? Let's see what it says. I'm sure it's probably using clean products to encourage brands to develop clean and sustainable beauty products from the beginning of their life cycle till the end. I think this is fantastic. I think they should definitely do that. All right. National Safe Day. Let's see what that's about. I don't know what that's about. On June 4th and National Safe Day, hold the power to prevent tragedy from repeating itself. With the help of the Brooklyn May Moeller Foundation, we are committed to ending senseless child deaths through the education of responsible gun ownership. We hope that the National Day also empowers parents to ask about guns where their children visit. Or, better yet, make sure that if you have guns in your house, that your kids know about them and understand the dangers of them. I grew up with guns in my house. My dad always had guns. They always went hunting back in the days. And growing up, I didn't do much hunting. But my dad did, so I grew up with guns. Grew up on a ranch, grew up shooting them. But I also grew up with gun safety and took the gun safety course back in the day to really understand how dangerous guns can really be. And, of course, I think if you have them hanging around, unfortunately, we have to say, I think you just have to have them locked up. All right. Anyways, moving right along. It's National Cognac Day. Not a big fan of cognac myself. It's National Cheese Day. Ooh, there we go. What's your favorite cheese? I like blue cheese. My wife told me a story one time about cheese when she lived in France. Said it took her, I believe the story goes something like this. It took her a while to like blue cheese again, I think it was. For the fact of the matter was that she was living with a French family. They brought out some cheese. And she said the blue cheese was so alive that it was moving on the plate. I mean, we know what cheese is, right? And we know what blue cheese is and how it's formed and how it's made. And good morning, Alex. How are you this morning? But to have cheese moving on the plate, probably pretty pungent. All right, it's National Old Maids Day. Let's see what that's about. National Old Maids Day falls on June 4th to recognize the women who never marry and remain childless. Well, happy National Old Maids Day to you if you remained unmarried and childless. While the term may not seem very flattering, we still think it's important to celebrate old maids everywhere to honor the contributions they make to their families and communities. Big shout out if you are an old maid. That was air quotes in there, by the way, just so you know. Not calling you an old maid. I would never do that. Oh, beautiful weather to get up in downtown Gatlinburg, Sevier County. Take a nice little hike today. Again, watch out if you're joining us from the mountain counties. You have a chance for seeing an afternoon or late afternoon, early evening thunderstorm that may roll off the mountains. Ooh, hot pepper cheese. Now you've got me talking about that. I miss hot pepper cheese. Oh, Alice, that's so bad. A coyote got your cat. That's awful. Morning, Chris. How are you this morning? Thanks, Brian. Eva loves cheese. I love cheese, too. Cheese is good. Cheese and eggs, cheese sandwiches, cheese soup, cheese on everything. I do like blue cheese on a hamburger. I do like blue cheese on a what do you call that? A wedge salad. I like blue cheese. Can't really eat it by itself, but hot pepper cheese, I'm 100% down for. So I'm with you on that, Kimberly. Cheryl likes most cheeses. Have you ever had some really pungent, dirty feet smelling cheese? Can't do those kind of cheeses. Port wine cheese is really good. Goat cheese is like my go-to. Goat cheese on top of, or even mozzarella cheese. It's all so good. Sharp is your favorite. The sharper, the better. I agree with you. I like sharp as well, Denise. By the way, big shout out to Denise this morning. She is now a Witcher Weather Watcher. She has her credentials from the National Weather Service and the Skywarn Storm Spotter program. So big shout out to you, Denise. And she's now part of our private group, which is 45 and growing. 45 weather nuts and growing. So if you are a weather nut, remember to message me, Mike at easttnweather.com. Let me know that you want to become a Witcher weather watcher, and we will help you out with that. Dwayne says pepper jack, provolone, mild cheddar, and American. I like also Velveeta cheese. Velveeta obviously is not really real cheese, nor is, I think, American cheese, right? Like that super processed cheese, but it's so good on like cheese sandwiches because it melts so well in eggs. Good morning, Matthew. How are you this morning? I'm odd. No cheese, please. Well, it's probably better for you. Lower, saturated fats, cholesterol. So, I think one of the first things you can cut out if you're dieting is soda, beer, and cheese, and bread. All the breads. All right, let's see. I have a staycation next week. Do you think we will have rain all week long? I don't. I actually think that we're going to probably trend a little bit, I think, let me just double check in on this. We may have, we're probably going to be trending about average, if not, probably about average when it comes to rainfall. So that would not be like every day, Katrina. So it should be a little bit on the better side. Well, we are, you're welcome. And we are glad to have you part of the Witcher Weather Watcher. So you'll get the hang of it as severe weather starts coming through, how it operates. But of course, you're always welcome, Denise, to join live on the broadcast if you ever want to be on TV during severe weather coverage. That's what's cool about the Witcher Weather Watchers. You can join me on the broadcast. We got Chris that's going to be out, chasing a little bit. Lots of cool stuff coming on. I have never liked blue cheese. Didn't know it could move around. Yes, it is a live culture. So the more lively and probably gross it is, the more it's probably going to move around. I don't know. You haven't had very pungent cheese? I have. And it's not, when it smells like dirty feet. Sorry about that. I'm not going to eat it. Just saying. Got some nice hazy sunshine out there this morning. Got a nice view of the lakes for anybody wanting to head off to lakes today or tomorrow. Should be great days to do so. Just realize that during the afternoon and early evening hours, we could see or could have a couple of afternoon or evening thunderstorms. Ooh, there we go, Brian. That's what I'm talking about. And then add artichokes, add avocado. An avocado bacon grilled cheese sandwich. That's what I'm talking about. That sounds amazing. Anyways, hazy sunshine, a couple of afternoon thunderstorms today or tomorrow. Better coverage of rainfall as we get into our, let's go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We do have that risk for severe storms as well. So if you're joining on the app this morning and you missed the entire forecast, I'll send you right back to the 24-hour weather channel and you'll get your forecast here in just a moment. I'm going to end this segment with the live view from Fort Loudon Dam, one of the live cameras there from the East Tennessee weather cameras, because lake life is a good life here in East Tennessee. All right, my friends, be safe, be kind to each other. As I always say, life is short. We'll see you back here tomorrow for Wake Up with the Witcher, starting off at 6 o'clock in the morning and all day, every day on social media. See you then.